What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, I recently made a video about this guy alongside of Nikola Vucevic, but I want to continue to discuss him today as we have a little bit of time on our hands since we don't play another game for a couple of days. I want to talk about Zach LaVine, ladies and gentlemen. And at the end of the day, when it comes to what's the talk around Zach LaVine, sure, some of it is about his season and how good of a season he is having, but I feel like that's overshadowed in many ways by a lot of the talk around trades. There's recent trade partner discussions and stuff of that nature that we could get into tomorrow, but regardless of how you may feel, Zach LaVine is sneakily having a good season, and I want to discuss why it is a good season for Zach LaVine in this video. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about these Chicago Bulls and Zach LaVine. Do you think he's having a great season? Do you think his season has been a little bit underwhelming? Where do you sit in terms of Zach LaVine and this current, I guess, situation with his season? Let's get started. So, obviously, we should probably talk about stats here. Now, the stats won't necessarily surprise you as of now. 22 games played. He's averaged 22.1 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, and 4.2 assists per game as well. The most important thing here is mainly his efficiency from the field, ladies and gentlemen, because that is where his bread and butter has been. He is shooting over 50% from the field, and he's shooting 43%. I didn't even know that myself, from the three-point line. 43% from the three-point line. That's quite incredible, if I do say so myself. Now, keep in mind, we're still early in the season. Those numbers can fall down. But with that being said, it's a great start to the season, and that cannot be denied for the Chicago Bulls. Now, you might look at Zach LaVine, and you probably expect him, right? And look, you have every right to expect whatever you want from Zach LaVine with the money he's getting paid. But you probably expect him to be in the 27, 28 point per game category, help leading the Chicago Bulls to a massive amount of victories. And I guess just being the max contract, all-star quality player that he has been. And look, at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, I think time has kind of proven Zach LaVine probably shouldn't have got that max contract in the end. He's a talented, very gifted guy, but ultimately, I just don't think he has proven to be a max contract guy. But whether we like it or not, that's the contract that he has on his hands. It still doesn't change the fact that he's having a very good season for the Bulls. There's a recent post the Chicago Bulls talked about, basically saying that Zach LaVine is one of 3 players to be averaging 22 points per game or more, and averaging 50% from the field in those 22 points. So basically, to put it this way, he has been one of the most efficient Chicago Bulls players, efficient players in the NBA today. That's all it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. That, to me, is why he's having a great season. The 27 points per game, as much as I'd love to see that, as much as I know many Bulls fans would probably love to see that, and help restore the faith that A, Zach LaVine can get back to his absolute best, B, there's a potential likelihood that he could get traded if he could get to those numbers and all those things. He's still one of the most efficient guys in the league. And he doesn't necessarily, the way that I see it at least, and you could correct me if I'm wrong here, but to me at least, he doesn't necessarily need to have 28 points per game when the Bulls' offense is as good as it is. You know, we're talking about Zach LaVine's numbers, but there's a lot of guys having good offensive numbers for the Chicago Bulls. Guys like Nikola Vucevic, guys like Ayo Dosunmu stepping up, guys like Josh Giddey with his playmaking, and the bench is doing a little bit of work as well. There's a lot of guys having good offensive numbers, and Zach LaVine, to me, fits right into that category. I have been one of the people that have been saying for ages, I love Zach LaVine's catch and shoot threes. I absolutely love them. And I wish he could take more of them. I wish he does take more of them. He's taking a little bit more of them from my understanding now than he did the past couple of seasons, but I still feel like there could be more. There could always be more catch and shoots for Zach LaVine with how this Bulls offense is currently flowing. I love his mid-range game. His mid-range game this season has been absolutely lethal. He's entered the post a lot more this season, and he's gotten a lot out of that post a lot more this season. He's also done a lot in terms of step backs and in terms of creating his own shot in the mid-range. He's been very good in that department. But I've also mentioned this about Zach LaVine. He's averaging 4.2 assists, right? And that's about standard for LaVine. I think his career averages is around 20. It's around 4 assists, my apologies. So he's averaging around that same number. But I like where his assists are coming from this season. put it this way. What I mean by that is that when Zach LaVine is not getting a groove of things offensively, let's say he's not involved in terms of the scoring or the shooting or anything like that, that's when his assists are coming into play. It's not necessarily on the same night. It's not like he's getting 28 points and 10 assists every single game, like most All-Stars and most Superstar caliber players can. But when he's doing, I guess the best way to put it is when his best attribute, which is scoring the ball, is not being put into use, he's finding a different way to make an impact. There have been almost every game Zach LaVine has played this season, he has made an impact. He has caused something for the Chicago Bulls, and that has to be a very big topic of discussion. I quickly want to turn to his turnovers because I don't actually know this. I don't know his turnovers per game. So his turnovers per game is around 2.8, which is roughly very similar to a lot of the other seasons he has had. So his playmaking is pretty much the same as it has been for many years, at least statistically. But me personally, I just like where they're coming from, how they're coming, and stuff of that nature. That is very important to me. And yes, all that being added up, Zach LaVine is having a sneaky good season. As I mentioned before, I think it's being overshadowed by the trade talk and overshadowed by many Bulls fans wanting him gone from the Chicago Bulls. And you know what? What I have to say to that, it's okay to want both. It really is okay to want both. It's okay to want Zach LaVine traded from the Chicago Bulls. I absolutely understand that sentiment, even though many people might start changing their mind on it. That's really up to you. It's up to your interpretation of what you want from this Bulls team. No one else can make up your mind for you except for yourself. But it's also okay to understand Zach LaVine's season has been very good for this Bulls team. In my opinion, he's been absolutely pivotal to the Bulls offense. And if we do trade Zach LaVine, the one thing you are going to see from the Chicago Bulls team, in my opinion, is a big downgrade on the offensive end. There's a lot of topic of discussions in relation to Zach LaVine's game. There was certain conversations about how Zach LaVine's game is affecting guys like Kobe White's game and Ayo Dosunmu's game, and how they are kind of taking the back seat when they should be front runners in the team and stuff of that nature. I understand all that, but you need to have patience with this Bulls team. It clearly needs to pick their direction, and I think they have picked their direction. It's about executing it now, making sure whatever they do in the future is the absolute right thing for the Chicago Bulls. There is no point in rushing anything, rushing a trade, rushing a contract signing, rushing anything when it comes to this Bulls team. If you're going to end up looking back at it and thinking what a waste of time it was in 2, 3, 4 years' time. There's no point rushing things. So as much as many people want the Bulls to maybe trade Zach LaVine, even though he's having a great season, don't rush it. Find your time. Hope Zach LaVine can play well, continue to play well, and make the right trade. Don't make a trade for the sake of making it. Don't make him leave the Bulls for the sake of doing it. At the end of the day, if he's happy to be here, I'm one of those people that is going to obviously be happy that he's here. But if he's going to go, make it for the right move. There's no point rushing this, in my opinion. Unless you find a good value in return right now, then don't do it. Wait. Wait till the trade deadline. Wait for it. See if a team becomes desperate. There might be one out there. Anyway, I kind of mentioned in the last video, I don't want to talk about Zach LaVine trade saga right now. All I want to say is Zach LaVine's having a sneaky good season. It should be talked about more than what it currently is. I'm very happy with Zach LaVine's season. I'm happy with his points tally in this current team with the roster that we have offensively. I'm happy with his assist numbers. I'm happy with his rebounding numbers. The only thing I could really ask for Zach LaVine is that he pick up his defensive game, because we're one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and Zach LaVine, alongside of the rest of the starters, I think is a massive contributor to that. So that's all I could really ask for. If we could get that from Zach LaVine, hey, could be pretty nice. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.